The time is 6:15. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. Here's the news edited by Dulvin Samarasinghe and read by Ramesh Pires. First, the headlines. China says it will support sovereignty, independence and territorial integrity of Sri Lanka. The US emphasizes its commitment to help Sri Lanka emerge from the economic crisis. The UNICEF appreciates steps taken by the government for the protection and well-being of children in the country. Former MP Ranjan Ramanayake leaves the prison following the presidential pardon. Business organizations warned not to maintain illegal fuel storage facilities. The Labour Department launches an online platform enabling beneficiaries to reserve a date and a time in advance. In news overseas, more than 33 million affected by historic rains in Pakistan. In sports, the Asia Cup cricket tournament will be played in Dubai and Sharjah from tomorrow. Now the local news in detail. The United States, through the U.S. Department of Agriculture and in partnership with Save the Children, received 320 metric tons of split yellow peas today to nourish school children across Sri Lanka. The donation is part of a larger one of 3,000 metric tons of food. U.S. Ambassador Julie Chang, Sri Lanka's Minister of Education Susil Premajayantha and representatives from the Ministry of Health, the National Planning Department and Save the Children attended the handover ceremony. Ambassador Julie Chang said this donation from the American people targets children and enables them to focus on their schooling rather than on their hunger. She said every nourishing meal will be a testament to the US's commitment to helping all Sri Lankans emerge from the worst economic crisis since the country's independence. The UNICEF Regional Director of South Asia, George Laya Adej, who is currently on a visit to Sri Lanka, paid a courtesy call on the Minister of Foreign Affairs Ali Sabri on Wednesday. Foreign Minister Sabri appreciated the cooperation and assistance extended by UNICEF to Sri Lanka. The minister welcomed the new UNICEF country program to be implemented from 2023. He further stated that Sri Lanka has been a benchmark in its efforts in providing free healthcare, education, as well as other social security measures, due to which the Human Development Index for Sri Lanka is well above the regional average. The regional director appreciated the efforts taken by the government for the protection and well-being of children in Sri Lanka and assured the continued cooperation and assistance of UNICEF to Sri Lanka. Former parliamentarian Ranjan Ramanayake, who was serving a 4-year sentence on charge of contempt of court, left the prison today after being granted presidential pardon. President Ranil Wickremesinghe signed the document granting conditional presidential pardon to former parliamentarian Ranjan Ramanayake this morning. The President's Media Division said that Mr. Ramanayake was granted presidential pardon on the condition that he would refrain from making any comments in contempt of the judiciary in the future. Meanwhile, opposition leader Sajid Premadasa and several other SJB MPs gathered outside the Velikada prison to welcome him. Opposition leader Premadasa has also said they are ready to appoint former MP Ramanayake to Parliament in the first instance of a vacancy falls in the national list. Minister Kanchana Wijesekara says many business organizations have been found to be maintaining illegal fuel storage facilities. The minister also said that issuing of fuel to such business places that do not follow the guidelines of the Ceylon Petroleum Corporation has been suspended. The minister further said that fuel will be issued to such institutions after only a proper evaluation. He added that export-oriented institutions should make payments in US dollars for getting fuel directly from the Ceylon Petroleum Corporation. This news broadcast comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. Continuing with more local news. Minister Manusha Nanakara says Labour Department will launch an online platform enabling beneficiaries to reserve a date and time in advance to get their paperwork done from September 1st. The hotline 1958 or the web link appointment.labourdept.gov.lk will be available for this with effect from September 1st. The online facility will be available at all district, sub and divisional offices of the Labour Department from September 1st onwards. Commissioner General Prabhat Chandrakirti said this facility will make it compulsory for the beneficiaries to make an appointment in advance. Community medical specialist Dr. Nimalka Panedaheti says a 3-day special dengue control program will be conducted from September 1st to the 3rd, covering the 60 high-risk medical officer of health divisions. She said this while speaking at a special media conference held yesterday at the Government Information Department regarding the risk of the spread of COVID-19 and dengue. She said inspections will be conducted by teams with the support of the armed forces and the police covering the districts of Colombo, Kadutara, Gaul, Gampaha, Kandy, Kegaul and Ratnapura. A fundamental rights petition has been filed against the decision taken by the Cabinet of Ministers to open up importing, distributing and selling petroleum products to selected foreign companies from oil-producing nations. The application was filed by a group of individuals, including Sri Lanka Podujana Progressive Employees Union. They accused the government of attempting to privatize most of the filling stations owned by the Ceylon Petroleum Corporation. Through this move, the CPC and the general public will incur a massive loss, the petitioners claimed, adding that it is also in violation of their fundamental rights. They have accordingly requested the court to issue an order preventing the implementation of the decision of the Cabinet of Ministers. Institute of National Security Studies, established under the Ministry of Defence, organised a roundtable discussion titled Organised Crimes and the Growing Imbalance of Discipline Within the Society recently. Former senior DIG Priyanth Jayakodi spoke on organised criminal gangs in Sri Lanka and its impact to national security. He revealed a wide array of information from the late 1990s to present on how the criminal gangs were formed and all relevant aspects. He pointed out to the negative impact it has on society and national security. Professor M.A.D. J.S. Nirala elaborated on how the increasing murder rates created insecurity within the community. Professor W. Dhanapala Vijayasinghe explained the overall negative impact of organised crimes within the Sri Lankan society. The 3-member committee that looked into the death of the mountain lion caught in a trap at Summerhill Estate on August 6th has recommended the provision of equipment and machines required for rescuing endangered animals, including portable equipment used in mountainous areas, to the wildlife authorities. The final report of the committee was handed over to Wildlife and Forest Conservation Minister Mahinda Amaraweera. The committee has made 25 recommendations regarding the protection of the mountain leopard population. The novel Olugantuta Yadini, written by senior Dr. Mahinda Wickramarachchi, will be launched at the Lady Ridgeway Hospital. Dr. Wickramarachchi, who works at the Lady Ridgeway Hospital, has written around 10 books. Olugantuta Yadini is the latest novel. The novel revolves around a woman suffering from infertility, her attempts to conceive a child and the social prejudices she has to go through. The novel depicts rural area Olugantuta in Ambalangoda. And that concludes local news.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
In the main news story, Ambassador of China to Sri Lanka, Ki Sen-hong, says China has always been supporting Sri Lanka in the international arena for protecting its sovereignty, independence and territorial integrity. In an article, he reiterated China's continued commitment to support the island nation. The Chinese envoy said some countries always make various groundless excuses to bully Sri Lanka and trample on the island's sovereignty and independence repeatedly. He noted that human rights issues in Sri Lanka are likely to be stirred up again on the 51st session of the UN Human Rights Council to be held in Geneva next month. The Chinese envoy said any infringement on the national sovereignty, independence and territorial integrity of Sri Lanka will not be tolerated. And that was the main news story.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
Watch Life is brought to you by
A Strength to Your Life. CIB Janajaya Vasana has commenced. Valuable gifts and all bills are on 31st of October. Come to CIB today.
In Watchlight this evening, the final phases of 2 mega drinking water projects in Anuradhapura district are at present in a state of stagnation. The 2 mega projects are the JICA-funded Anuradhapura North Water Project and Chinese-funded Tambutekama Water Project. JICA and the Chinese Development Bank are reported to have suspended the financial assistance agreed upon due to the foreign loans rescheduling mechanism. And that came to you in Watchlight. A bulletin of world news is next.
A Strength to Your Life. CIB Janajaya Vasana has commenced. commenced. Valuable gifts and all bills are on 31st of October. Come to CIB today.
In the world news, first the headlines. More than 33 million affected by historic rains in Pakistan. Startup denies using technology to turn call center accents white. Britney Spears releases first new music since 2016. Now the world news in detail. The country's climate minister told media that more than 33 million people have been affected by historic rains and floods that have swept Pakistan. Since June, more than 900 people have died in monsoon rains and floods that continue to break weather records. Pakistan's climate minister said the government was battling with a climate-induced humanitarian disaster of epic proportions. The cash-strapped nation has called for additional international aid. A Silicon Valley startup has developed technology that can change the accents of call center workers in real time. The company Sanas has told media that its technology could overcome accent-based prejudice and reduce racist abuse faced by staff. But some critics have called it a move in the wrong direction and say language diversity should be celebrated. Media has accused Sanas of making the agents, many of whom are from the global south, sound white. Britney Spears has released her first new music since being released from a conservatorship that controlled almost every aspect of her life. Hold Me Closer, a duet with Sir Elton John, hit streaming sites today, making Spears' return to music after a six-year hiatus. The song incorporates three of Sir Elton's classic hits, Tiny Dancer, The One, and Don't Go Breaking My Heart, over a summer fresh club beat. Back to the headlines of the world news. More than 33 million affected by historic rains in Pakistan. Startup denies using technology to turn call center accents white. And Britney Spears releases first new music since 2016. And that concludes world news. Moving on to development news. Prime Minister Dinesh Gunawardena urged the Chief Executive Officer of Daras Group, Berke Mickelson, to expand the Saubhagya Production Bureau and Saubhagya Production Villages through Daras Connect, which is being carried out in partnership with the divisional secretariats. During a discussion with a delegation headed by Mr. Mickelson at the Prime Minister's office, he said the Daras Connect program would be useful for rural skills development. And that was development news.
Sports News is brought to you by
Sampath Bank. We present your future.
Moving on to sports, it's cricket. The 15th edition of the Asia Cup Cricket for men will be played in Dubai and Sharjah from tomorrow to the 11th of next month. India, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, Afghanistan and the winner of Asia Cup qualifier will compete for the DP Asia World Cup 2022. A total of 13 matches will be played in Dubai and Sharjah. The opening match of the tournament will be played between Sri Lanka and Afghanistan, and the finals will be played on the 11th September at the Dubai International Cricket Stadium. This is the fourth time that the Asia Cup will be held in UAE. In other cricket news, more than 80 teams are expected to take part in the MCA Open Cricket Sixes tournament conducted by the Mercantile Cricket Association. The MCA Open Cricket Sixes will commence Tuesday and conclude with the finals at the MCA grounds on September 4th. In other sports news, cycling. Preparations are underway for the cycling challenge, which will be held on Sunday at the Vihara Mahadevi Park, Colombo, from 8 a.m. onwards. It is organized by the Cycling Federation of Sri Lanka under the guidance of the Ministry of Youth and Sports for the second consecutive year. Comprising 7 races, the event is expected to draw participation from over 500 cyclists. And that was sports news.
Cash through NSP globally and win wonderful gifts locally. From October 1st, 2021 to December 31st, 2022. Remit a minimum of $100 or an equivalent amount in any foreign currency 3 times through NSB U Trust.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
In business news, Dialog has introduced a state-of-the-art smart security doorbell. This smart home doorbell is equipped with an array of security features. The motion detection sensors can instantly alert of any suspicious activity happening outside the front gate or indoors. The HD camera embedded into the doorbell will allow to see what is happening outside the front door in HD quality anytime from anywhere. And that was business news.
Business News. Sponsored by
Cash through NSP globally and win wonderful gifts locally. Will you be the lucky winner of the NSP Golden Jubilee? 50 gold sovereigns for the top prize winner of the NSP Golden Jubilee. Scooters for the 10 second prize winners. iPhones for the 10 third prize winners. Mountain bikes for the 29 fourth prize winners. From October 1st, 2021 to December 31st, 2022. Remit a minimum of $100 or an equivalent amount in any foreign currency 3 times through NSB U Trust.
Economic news, courtesy of...
Saving money isn't easy when you have responsibility. That's why we promise to give you the best returns and guarantee on your investment. LOLC Finance Fixed Deposits. Maximize your savings. LOLC Finance PLC, incorporated on the 13th of December 2001, is rated SLA stable by ICRA Lanka Limited and is licensed by the Monetary Board of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka under the Finance Business Act number 42 of 2011.
In economic news, China, the largest government creditor to emerging economies, has said it will forgive 23 interest-free loans to 17 African countries and redirect $10 billion of its International Monetary Fund reserves to nations on the continent. According to a post on the ministry's website, quoted by a Bloomberg report, Foreign Minister Wang Yi announced the cancellations in a meeting of the Forum on China-Africa Cooperation. China has established itself as Africa's largest bilateral lender, bankrolling key infrastructure projects on the continent. And that was economic news. The weather report is next.
LOLC Finance is taking the power of innovation to the next level, winning 5 golds at the Technovation Awards 2022, leading the digital revolution with cutting-edge interbanking digital payments. LOLC Finance claims the overall gold award, whilst also claiming an extraordinary victory in digital banking. LOLC Finance will continue to innovate with the next generation digitalization of financial services, delivering a superior customer experience.
And finally, moving on to the weather report. The Met Department says showers will occur at times in the Sambaragama province and in the Kandy and Warelia districts. Several spells of showers will occur in the western and northwestern provinces and in the Gaul and Mathura districts. Showers or thunder showers will occur at several places in the Uva, eastern and north central provinces and in the Mullaitivu district during the evening or night. And that was the weather report. And to end this news broadcast, a recap of the main news headlines. China says it always supports sovereignty, independence and territorial integrity of Sri Lanka. The US emphasizes its commitment to help Sri Lanka emerge from the economic crisis. The UNICEF appreciates steps taken by the government for the protection and well-being of children in the country. Former MP Ranjan Ramanayaka leaves the prison following the presidential pardon. Business organizations warned not to be maintaining illegal fuel storage facilities. The Labour Department launches an online platform enabling beneficiaries to reserve a date and a time in advance. In news overseas, more than 33 million affected by historic rains in Pakistan. In sports, it's cricket. The Asia Cup cricket tournament will be played in Dubai and Sharjah from tomorrow.